Good afternoon, students. Welcome to our today's class. Today we'll be talking about geography of arid and semi-arid lands. By the end of this lesson, I want you learners to be able to define aridity, to define arid lands and semi-arid lands, to be able to classify them into different categories, to be able to explain how plants and animals are adapted to arid and semi-arid lands. Let's start with the definition and classification of different terms. Aridity is a climatic characteristic that refers to the degree of dryness or lack of moisture. It is typically measured by the ratio of precipitation or rainfall to potential evapotranspiration, which is the total amount of water that could be lost from the land surface through evaporation and transpiration by plants under existing climate conditions. Let's look at arid lands. Arid lands are typically defined by the extremely low levels of precipitation, with an annual average of less than 50 millimeters of rainfall. These limited water supplies are defined in featuring arid lands. So are classified into hyperarid and arid. Hyperarid lands, these are the driest of the arid lands. They receive less than 50 millimeters of rainfall per year. Examples of regions which are hyperarid is Atacama Desert in Chile. Secondly, you have arid, which is another classification. Arid region receive between 50 to 250 millimeters of rainfall annually, e.g., Sahara deserts in Africa and the Middle East. Semi-arid lands. These lands receive more rainfall than arid regions, but still they have limited water availability. That is, they receive rainfall between 250 to 500 millimeters. That is 10 to 20 inches of rainfall per year. Semi-arid lands are classified into dry, subhumid, and semi-arid. The dry subhumid, these areas receive around 200 millimeters of precipitation per year. They often exhibit a transition from arid to more temperate climates. Secondly, we have a semi-arid, another classification. Semi-arid lands receive approximately 400 to 500 millimeters of rainfall annually, where they have a slightly more favorable water supply compared to arid regions. They still face challenges related to water scarcity and drought. We have general key characteristics of arid and semi-arid lands. Both of them are characterized by limited and reliable rainfall, resulting in water scarcity and often extreme. Droughts are common in these regions, which can have a significant ecological, social, and economic impact. Vegetation in arid and semi-arid region is adapted to survive in water-stressed conditions, with many plant species being drought resistant. And at that point, we looked at the meaning of aridity. We have studied the meaning of arid and semi-arid, and we have classified them into different categories and given the general key characteristics of arid and semi-arid lands. Now let's look at our second topic, which talks about vegetation and wildlife. We see that adaptation to arid and semi-arid environments are essential for the survival of both plants and animals or vegetation and wildlife. These adaptations enable them to thrive in conditions characterized by limited water, high temperatures, and arid landscapes. Let's start with our first point, which talks about plants that have been adapted to arid and semi-arid lands. Xerophytes. Xerophytes are a group of plants specially adapted to arid conditions. They exhibit the following adaptation: reduced leaves. Many xerophytes have reduced size to minimize water loss through transpiration. Succulent. Some store water in their tissues. For example, we have cacti, which have specialized water storage sacs. They have deep roots. Many xerophytes have deep root systems to access water deep in the soil. Plants have wax cuticles. Some plants have thick wax cuticles on their leaves to reduce water loss. Let's look on our next point, which is about CAM photosynthesis. Certain plants, including many succulents and some tropical, use crassulaceous acid metabolism, which is CAM photosynthesis. And this adaptation allows them to open stomata at night, minimizing water loss during the day. We have drought deciduous trees. In arid regions, some trees shed their leaves during dry periods to conserve water. When water is available, they regrow their leaves. And by that, we have seen how plants are adapted to arid and semi-arid lands. They have various characteristics which makes them to adapt to arid regions. We have some drought deciduous trees which adapt to acids in their own way. And let's look at how are being adapted to arid and semi-arid lands. Animals in acids, they have different characteristics which enable them to adapt to arid and semi-arid lands. First, we have nocturnal behavior. Many desert animals, including reptiles, rodents, and some birds, are nocturnal to avoid the extreme daytime heat. They come out at night to forage when it's cooler. We have camouflage. Animals in arid and semi-arid region often they have coloration, blends in with the landscape to avoid predators and to stay hidden while hunting. We have burrowing animals, numerous desert animals like kangaroo rats and big cats. They are adapted for burrowing to escape high temperatures and reduce water loss. Animals in arid and semi-arid land, they conserve water using several mechanisms, which are concentrated urine. Kangaroo rats, they produce highly concentrated urine to conserve water. There's water storage. Some reptiles and insects can store water in their bodies for later use. There's salty glands. Marine birds and reptiles have salty glands to excrete excess salt from their body. And we have starvation. Starvation is the same as hibernation. We find that some animals like tortoise and snail, they enter a state of dormancy during hot and dry periods, reducing their metabolic activity. We have efficient respiratory system. Desert animals often have highly efficient respiratory system to minimize water loss through respiration. Some animals have long limbs. Desert animals like camels, they have long limbs, which helps them to distribute their body weight more evenly over the sun to prevent sinking. We have those animals that migration. Some animals like the African wildebeest, they undertake long migrations in search of water and food during dry season. And at that point, we have seen how animals and plants are being adapted to arid and semi-arid lands. And that will mark the end of the day. And I want you learners to go and study further on how plants and animals are adapted to arid and semi-arid lands. Have a nice day. Let's meet another time. Bye.